Alright, so this is 10/29/25. I haven't really done a journal entry in a while. I kind of just been writing it down. And the other days haven't really been anything. Um, so today I took one trade on a combine and I made the 1500. And this is actually the first time in a while that I've actually been able to get to the 50% mark on a combine. So I'm pretty proud of myself. Pretty proud of myself for today. And today was really really good. So I normally don't trade gold, but for this week I have been looking at it, and I did take a trade yesterday too. But just because gold's not at all-time high, so there's a lot more easier draws. So I'll go into, let's go over this one. So we had this daily volume imbalance right here, and then we came up and we were inside this daily gap right here. Right. We already had this move down like this, and we were inside. We came up yesterday from this daily gap. So my draw on liquidity was pretty much just shorts. I just wanted to, we tapped into this, and the reason why was going in the 4 hour right here. We took out this 4 hour swing right here, right? And we had a 4 hour reversal. This was like a really good AMD setup that I saw. So 6 a.m. candle open, we take out this high right here. And what made this really good was the 30-minute. So we go on the 30-minute. We ended up making this high, and then 6 a.m. came up, swept this. We didn't close above. And same thing for the 15-minute and the 5-minute. And I think like every time frame, even the lower ones. Yeah, exactly. We didn't close above. So that was a really good sign. I was like, okay, this is really good. This is like a really clean setup right here. So I wanted to see after. We had already had this 30-minute inverse right here at 9 o'clock. So I wanted to see it come back to this 30-minute BPR. So my bias was short, right? So market opens, I wait, and as I'm waiting, I was trying to find my levels for my STD, or STDV, standard deviation. I don't have STDs. Anyways, I found this level right here, and I changed it a few times. I had another one that also had a good mark out right here, and also had another level down here that reacted. But I ended up going with this one, and this one worked out way better. I liked how our -1 right here was reacted off of, and we didn't close above it. So that was another really good confirmation that we wanted to go lower. So we ended up coming down here. I marked out the opposite end. We hit our -1, got a reaction off this. We had market open right here. I waited. I was just being patient. I waited till we got in that 30-minute BPR. We created this 5-minute gap right here. We inversed it, and I set my limit right at. I set it at 28.4. I could have set it at 28.5, but there's been so many times where I set my limit in a certain spot and it will go to that exact point. Like it'll go, like what's the high of this candle? 28.7. Like I've literally set limits before to where they'd be in that area, and it'll go to literally where my limit is and not fill me. So I just set it down like a point below. It doesn't even matter. Anyways, we ended up getting a really nice reaction off of that, and obviously I only targeted 15 to get that profit target, but I did take it on the practice as well. And I targeted all the way down here to this full range right here. We ended up having FOMC, which I got so close, and ended up coming back up here. Didn't get stopped out, of course, but a really good practice trade. I was targeting originally like the London and Asia lows down here, but I don't know. I was just going off of what I knew and was 90% sure was going to get hit, which was the full range of this. And it did. So that was a really good trade. And there were actually a couple trades. I took a lot of practice trades today that really did just play out like a lot. So get rid of all of this. FOMC did this. We ended up taking, I don't even know what it hit. I don't know. But I was still bearish even after this close, so I kept holding. And then I saw this practice trade, and even though I may not have entered, I still see it in the moment, and whenever I mark this out, I kind of still do the same thing with like counting it as like a practice trade. But we had this huge gap right here. We had this 15-minute, I think. Yep, 15-minute gap right here. And we created this 15-minute rejection block. But before that, we created a 5-minute and a 3-minute and a 2-minute. And what makes this really high probability and really nice is that the 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute, and 15-minute all line up perfectly. There's been times before where like rejection blocks will, you know, there'll be multiple rejection blocks on different time frames, but some will be like, maybe this is where the 15-minute is, but then the 5-minute would be start like all the way up here. So the fact that all 4 of these time frames lined up perfectly was just really good. So I set my limit up here whenever price was down here, and it ended up literally just ticking it perfectly. And then I just set this right here. But yeah, I guess it's going lower. But yeah, this is like an insane trade. Like if one contract of this is what, $3,300 right there. I mean, I didn't even realize how much gold like it's crazy. But that was another really good trade, really high probability rejection block. All right, and then NQ. Go over NQ. I didn't trade on NQ today, obviously, but there was a really good setup, a really obvious setup. Right here, this 3-minute. So, market open. We ended up doing this. We had London highs above here, and we had a bunch of 4-hour gaps. We had this small 4-hour right here that I wanted to target. I wanted to use this as a target. I think there was, I think Asia low was inside this as well. Or no, there was, I don't know. Wait. There was something there. I think it was just these lows. I don't know. I think Asia low was all the way down here. We had this low resistance. I wanted to see that get hit too, and it eventually did. We had a bunch of 4-hour gaps here. I just wanted to target this though. This would have just been enough. So we ended up having like really clear accumulation, and this is obviously another practice trade, but this is something I would have taken. Like I'm placing these short positions like in the moment. Like I'm not just placing this just now just to show it. Like I'm placing these in the moment as if I was taking the trade. And my stop was definitely not right here. It was definitely like somewhere up here, but we had this really clear 1-minute accumulation right here. So I told myself, I saw this. We pretty much did the same thing like this yesterday, I think. So I wanted to see this accumulation go up and take this London high and go down. I feel like we were so high already, and I actually have a level I had marked out. I think it was this. Yeah, it was this. So I found this leg right here, which is pretty much the last Asia leg. I really liked how it looked. It just stands out, right? I didn't really find like a clear London leg, so this is what I went with, and it ended up. The only reason why I went with this one is because it was just the most accurate. So then, of course, I marked this out down here, and I don't think it really would have even mattered. I just used this as a target, not like to bounce off of anything. But because we hit this and we made this right here, we had really clear accumulation, we had this manipulation up, and we had a really clear 3-minute inverse down. We inversed all this on the leg, and there was no 5-minute, no other 5 minutes in this leg right here, except for down here that we've already mitigated. And that's pretty much it. Like, the 3-minute was the best, I think. There was obviously a 2-minute, and we ended up coming up into this right here, but it doesn't matter. We respected the 3-minute IFVG, and I entered right, or I placed it right on the start of that BPR, and I targeted 75 for what would have been 50%, but 75 also came down into that 4 hour that I wanted to target. So that was a really good trade too that I took. And there was another one right after that that was almost perfect that I also practice traded on. So down here on the 1 minute, we had this right here where this was basically inside that 4 hour, and then we had a 1 hour gap right below it. So I saw this this W shape, the most known pattern known to man. So I told myself, I was like, okay, well, we can possibly get like a 1 minute CISD here. So I want to place this, and if we close above, which we did, and we ended up coming back, I placed a thing right here, and eventually it came back in that same minute. I had my stops on this 1 minute low right here, and then I targeted this 5 minute unfilled gap right here. So it's like a small scalp trade, and you know, we ended up going to that. I also marked out, which was crazy, this is the most insane thing ever, I marked out this unfilled 5, which was the last one on the leg. It was the last highest time frame gap on the leg. So I marked this out, and FOMC came out, and we already had this like look at this V shape. FOMC came out, and we ended up ticking that gap like to the tick. Like, look at that. It's insane. And then we ended up dropping. Like look at this. If you were to enter on this, excuse me, 240 points, dude. I mean, there's no possible way you'd know that this was the end. Maybe there is. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But I just thought that was pretty crazy. And then I actually ended up taking another practice trade. I don't know why I tried shorting right here. And of course it was super volatile, so like one contract was like a lot, and I ended up like losing 1,000. I had to have my stops like somewhere. I thought I'd be pretty good. It wasn't though. And we ended up ripping all-time highs. We ended up almost coming to this full range right here, and we hit that negative 4.25 and then came back down. So yeah, today was pretty crazy. I took one good trade. I took a couple practice trades, pretty much like 3 or 4, and then I took one loss on the practice. So honestly, a pretty good day. I stuck to my rules. I waited. I was patient. I think the main thing with like me going over this would need to be on here. For gold, I was patient. You know, we had that 30-minute inverse, and you know, price could have not even came back to that and continued down, but I stayed true to myself and trusted what I was seeing in the moment, and I stayed disciplined. I didn't try entering on anything that may have looked like it would still go down from right here. Like, we had this 5-minute gap. I don't know if we got like a smaller inversion on the smaller time frame, but yeah, I mean, just stayed patient, and I got a really good entry on that gold. I was pretty much in that, like, I think I was in class whenever that was going on. But that was for today. Hopefully I could do the same thing tomorrow. For this account, yeah, so also look at this. I blew this account, but I accidentally took a trade, and it let me trade on it, and now my account is technically above the max loss limit. So, are they gonna give me my account back? Like, what's up with that? But yeah, so that's the trade recap. and my practice recaps and my emotions and the thoughts. Let's hope I can do the same thing tomorrow. Keep on learning. Alright, well, that's gonna be it.